Cool. Okay, I'm live today with Christie Stapleton, who is the founder of
Hi.
Glam Wax. Christie, welcome. Why don't you give us a background on how you got started and with Glam Wax to date?
Yeah, so the business turns 2 next month. I was just one day at work and someone had ordered some wax melts, and I was like, "What is a wax melt?" I didn't even know what a wax melt was. And they looked really cool, and they were like scented candles. So I wanted to buy some, and I really struggled to find a fun young brand that represented me. It was all quite plain Jane older customer targeted. So I thought I'm going to make my own. I'll give it a go. And in the kitchen, I was melting wax, creating fragrances, and I thought they looked pretty cool. So I just put on Instagram, would anyone be interested in trying these or want to purchase? And I had 150 orders that week. So
Wow,
it kind of, yeah. So it was just kind of like almost overnight. It was like, whoa, okay. And I was working full time at the time, and I didn't have a website. People would just have to message me on Instagram to order. As you can imagine, it's what scent do you want? What's your address? What's your bank details? And I was just getting all these messages, and I was at work getting all, I thought, oh my gosh. So I realized pretty quickly I had to hire an additional pair of hands to help, because once I finished my workday shift, I'd come back and I'd have to restock whilst someone else would have to pack the orders. And it was just trying to keep on top of it from there, really.
that's
And then within 2 months, I had to quit my job.
wow. That's interesting
Yeah.
because obviously most of the time, and I can speak for myself as well, even though I don't have a store now, you sort of have like a side hustle for about 6 months to
Yeah.
then you decide to immerse yourself into your baby. But it sounds like for you, it was almost like an overnight success.
Yeah, it just kind of like took off quite quick, and I had a feeling it got to the point where I was getting so tired. I would be like up late, pouring or packing, and then going into work, and I had to make a decision. I just couldn't carry on that way. And I had to think, right, do I take a chance on this new business or carry on in my job for 7 years that I was getting quite bored at, to be honest? So I thought, right, I'm just gonna give this a shot, because I think I'll regret it otherwise. So I did, and yeah, we're approaching our second birthday next month.
Incredible. So did you research how to do this online? Like, how did you create the first product?
So yeah, there was like some Facebook groups. I watched a couple of YouTube tutorials. I just kind of wanted a new hobby, really. I wanted to try candles first, but candles are very complex. So I
Mm,
started off with the wax melts. And we've only just launched candles actually about a month ago. So it took us 2 years to add candles to our range. But we got there in the end. And now we do bubble bath. We're currently developing our own bath bombs, and potentially some other new products as well.
incredible. And what made you realize that there was a position in this space? Because you said it was typically like um,
Yeah,
there was a gap there to get in with more of like a young
yeah.
hipster vibe, maybe. Like, who were the traditional players in the space before?
Well, for example, it's hard to buy wax melts in a shop currently. More retailers are onto the trends, especially, for example, like B&M and Home Bargains offer wax melts. I think it's just because of the Mrs. Hinch effect. So those sort of cleaning community people can access wax melts, but they're very like cheap and cheerful. Like you can buy a pack for £1. They're not going to
Yeah,
last. The scent's not great quality. Um, or well, that was kind of it really. Or you could get like top notch, super expensive, with like quite white plain branding really. So there was just a huge gap in the market. I mean, the market's just increasing every year. And it's just, yeah, it's just right for the picking. And I was our target market, because I wanted some max melts and I couldn't really
yeah,
find something. I didn't want the Poundland ones, and I didn't want to pay like £10 for them either. So I just thought, right, I'm going to create a product because there's obviously a gap.
yeah.
Hey Charlotte, how's it going?
There we go. First comment of the day. It's on there.
Yeah. So that's kind of how I spotted a gap, because I wanted to actually buy the product myself and I struggled to find it. So I just thought, okay, whoop, whoop, go Glam Wax.
Very cool.
So yeah, that's kind of how it developed. And then I guess our customers on Instagram kind of also spotted a gap. So they tried our product and it's just kind of snowballed from there, really.
So did this start off with something you just posted on your personal page, and then it's a lot of friends, family, and then you just decided to transition to a brand afterwards?
Well, I didn't really have, sorry, I just got hay fever this time of
No
year, but
worries.
I had a home interior account on Instagram, and I only had about 1,000 followers. So it wasn't that many, but I managed to convert all of those people over to Glam Wax.
Yep.
So I changed that account. I just said I said I'm setting up a new account. I'm gonna spend all my time on that, and I did manage to convert about 70% of those people over to Glam Wax. And I actually met my best friend on Instagram, weirdly. It was an account that followed me, my very first follower. So I reached out and messaged, said, thank you so much for the support, being my first ever follower. I said, I'd love to gift you some product as a thank you. And it turns out she lived 3 minutes away from where I live.
That's amazing.
And yeah, so the power of Instagram. And then we just became really good friends from there. But yeah, I love Instagram. The community's great, and we've had such a supportive community on there.
Let's talk a bit more about Instagram, actually, and we'll sort of zone in a bit on acquisition. It sounds like that was important in the beginning and it was quite organic and the words of mouth. But as you've scaled up the production, how have you translated that across to paid acquisition as well? Because like you said,
Yeah.
this is from my knowledge in this area as well, this can be quite challenging because the items aren't super expensive. So how do you acquire customers with your ad strategy?
So we do paid obviously Facebook ads, and we usually get around 6 times return, which we're quite happy with. Yeah.
Okay.
So yeah, that helps a lot. And we haven't used Google Ads, but we're starting to look into that. And then for Instagram, I love gifting influencers, especially micro influencers, because they're just so excited that a company wants to collaborate with them, that they just seem really genuine with what they share. And we have worked with a couple of paid influencers, and we pay quite a bit of money, and you see much less return. I think it's because it doesn't seem as genuine to the customer.
Definitely. That micro influencer movement's really big at the moment, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And I call it like a snowball effect, because they're sharing it on their story, and then all of their followers see that, and then they come through to your store, and then some of them may purchase, and then they share on their story, and it just kind of grows and grows.
How are you finding these people? Are they approaching you, or are you just sort of spending a certain amount of time each day, like trying to vet influencers?
Well, I kind of just kind of had a good relationship with a lot of people that we interact with, and some of them had quite big accounts. So I just said, hey, I'd love to send you some product to try. And we find it's almost like a try before you buy, because about 75% of the influencers we gift actually become customers.
That's
So
incredible.
that's really nice. And it's like, you don't have to like buy a product. I'll happily send you some more for free, but they do support the business, which is really nice.
That's great. That shows obviously you've got a good quality product as well if they want to actually pay for it too.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, my. Yeah, it is. It's really good. We have paid a couple of larger accounts that had about 100K to 200K, and we've definitely seen, like, we obviously track those conversions with a discount code, and you get like 1 or 2 purchasers from that, and it's crazy how someone that has so many followers. I think there's a lot of fake bought followers on Instagram, especially with the higher, really big accounts.
That's quite interesting actually as well, because I think that ties back into what you said about the authenticity before. Maybe if you do go after those big influencers with 100 to 200K, they can see through it more and realize.
I think they can. Yeah. Our customers, like, no, they're not stupid. I think it's very, like, if you're constantly promoting, because some of these people just have a schedule where they just constantly promote brands, so you're not really getting that fair share. Whereas if someone is just passionate about the product, it just comes across more naturally and more obvious.
Definitely. I think you see a lot of brands doing that at the moment, don't you? They're just being very honest and transparent, and it's working out well for them with the customers.
Oh, I just noticed. So Charlotte's just asked, how do you spot fake following? Which is a really good question. So there is something called, I think, Social Blade, where you can see if,
Before.
yeah, so you can see if someone's suddenly gained like 1,000 followers overnight. It can seem quite suspicious, but I have actually run our own account through that, and we had like a spike of 800, but that was because we had a giveaway.
Yeah.
So that could also, I guess, happen to an influencer if they've done a giveaway. It could look a bit fake, but definitely looking at, so if you go onto their followers, if it's lots of people that have like no faces on the profiles or no engagement,
Yeah.
definitely look at engagement rate.
That's it. Let's talk a bit about giveaways, actually. How effective have they been for you? If you ran many of them in the past? Because I can tell you when we've used them as like a lead generation technique on site, we acquire a lot of leads, but they tend not to convert and tend to be really low value customers just with a passive interest. Have you noticed the same thing?
We've been quite lucky because the giveaways we've been in have definitely helped build our brand exposure.
Yeah.
So we've tried to work with brands that might be in a slightly different market. For example, All Shook Up Drinks, who do the cocktail cans in the supermarket. So we paired that with like a porn star martini reed diffuser. And we managed to engage with some of those customers, so everyone has to follow you as well as the other brand. And we do get some custom from it as well. And we haven't noticed particularly a drop off after the giveaway ends either. So we've
That's
managed to retain those followers. Yeah, we've done quite a few giveaways, and touch wood, we haven't really lost anyone. We might have lost a small amount here and there, but it hasn't dropped our figures down.
Sounds like you've had quite a strategic approach to it. Are you using like co-marketing with other brands to do this?
It just kind of all happened naturally, really. I mean, I don't really plan our
Yeah.
social media. I don't plan. I just do it on the fly because I think it's more authentic.
Yeah.
I find if you try to plan like a week or 2 weeks it just seems kind of forced or quite salesy.
That's
I
really
just,
interesting. Yeah. Yeah. I've heard a lot of people say similar things actually recently. Whilst you want the lead time, of course, to plan as much as possible with everything in business, but at the same time,
yeah,
you might restrict yourself. And I feel the same way even when I create content on LinkedIn. If I plan
yeah.
too far in advance, I'd stop myself having the opportunities to talk about things that are on my mind at that moment in time.
I always see you. You always pop up on LinkedIn for me. I'm always seeing you commenting on people. That's like a good strategy.
That's good. That shows I'm saturating the algorithm. People must be sick.
You clearly are. I always see your comments.
I've been at it for 2 years, so but yeah, I mean, we obviously built our business on LinkedIn, so it's very important for us. Sounds like what Instagram is for you, LinkedIn.
Yeah. And I always find like when you engage with someone, I think like, oh well, if Adam's engaged with them, they must be worth my time. So then I send them a follow or a connection request. So
Oh, I'm
thanks,
flattered.
Adam.
It's great to hear. So what else have you been doing? Obviously, Instagram is very important by the sounds of it, but what other strategies have you implemented to grow the brand?
So I have just started actually using Instagram for about 3 months now. I hadn't really utilized it. I just created an account, I don't know how many, like say 6 years ago or something, and kind of forgot all about it. But I thought, I want to get like the female founder story out a bit. So I created an account and I've been sharing more stuff about what's going on with the business. And we've actually got some great opportunities from having a LinkedIn account. For example, I've had discussions with American distributors, UK distributors. Yeah, and it's all because of LinkedIn. I don't think they would have found me otherwise, or I wouldn't have found them. And it's kind of like flattering to have these accounts reach out to you.
Definitely,
Um,
yeah. That's interesting because obviously when you hear B2C, most people do go to the social channels where the demand's already there for it, like Instagram, Facebook, Google, but LinkedIn is definitely a big opportunity, I think, as you said, because you
Definitely.
expand in terms of distribution, retail, and there's a lot of low hanging fruit on there as well.
Yeah, and just making like more people aware of your company. And it's just all trying to get brand awareness, really.
Absolutely. What about email? I need to ask, of course.
Yes, we do email campaigns. We use Klaviyo, and we do see some good return on campaigns as well.
Any SMS?
No, we haven't. I don't know. I think it's because I always think of how do I feel about that.
Yeah.
For example, I hadn't looked at doing like a afterpay. You can get the like Klarna ClearPay, because I personally thought, oh, does it look like I'm encouraging debt? But I've done some research and it helps with conversion rates and building trust. So now we will look at adopting that. But again, I think, do I want a text? And I think, well, probably not, but it might have a great conversion rate. So maybe I should look into that.
It's interesting, isn't it? Because for me personally, as a consumer too, I'm probably the same as you. I find it quite invasive, the text marketing, and to be honest, quite annoying. But at the end of the day, I suppose the results speak for themselves. And whilst it's not super popular, I would say, in the UK and Europe right now, the people we work with in the States do go quite heavy on it, and it's quite incredible the results from a sales return that they get. So I'm going to be interested to see when Klaviyo roll that out in the UK.
Yes.
It's a good question from Justin. Have you considered adding a subscription option to the site?
Yes, we do have a subscription. That was one of the first things. So it never used to be a subscription. It just used to be like a themed monthly box. I thought I won't do a subscription because it might put people off the commitment side, whereas they can just keep coming on every month and ordering it if they want. But then I thought, no, to grow the business strategically, it would be nice to have a set amount of revenue coming in each month. So we then changed it to a subscription. But we have definitely noticed a downturn in doing it as a subscription. I think people like to as and when order. And I think it doesn't scare people as much.
That's very interesting, actually, because there's a big push, isn't there, for subscription in e-commerce at the moment. But at the same time, I think if you just have that brand loyalty where people genuinely like the product, they won't feel as forced into signing up for the subscription, and they'll buy it naturally. And we have a big problem as well with some of the people that we work with on Recharge, the subscription.
Yeah.
So a lot of the customers who sign up for it actually cancel, and it causes a lot of churn. And obviously there's a big focus on why these people cancel. But if you give them the option to skip the payments, a lot of people will stay on the subscription model. So that begs the question, why not just give them the option to purchase whatever they want?
Yeah, definitely. I think they should definitely get into that, or maybe just like a 3-month subscription, so that they don't feel so like tied in, especially with what's happening in the pandemic at the moment. Yeah,
that's interesting. Yeah, I think people just like the flexibility and the commitment of it, to know that they can drop out at any time.
We actually have a problem with our Recharge where the link isn't working to unsubscribe. We've been going back and forth with them. It's so frustrating.
I've heard that from our clients as well. So it must be some bug in the system.
It is, but they keep saying, no, it's fine our end. And it's like, well, it's definitely not. So poor customers are having to like email or contact me on Instagram saying, can I subscribe? And yeah, of course they can, but it just doesn't seem very good, I think, if a customer can't unsubscribe.
That's interesting. Must be some bug in the system. Keep the customers locked in anyway. Take all the money. Okay, that brings us nicely on to the next one, actually. So what are the most important apps and software that you've used to grow the store to date?
So I realised quite early on that SEO was definitely something that we should look into. And we've been working hard on our SEO returns. And I saw that you quite often interview Sylvia at Pink SEO.
Great. Yeah.
And she uses SEMrush, and we also use SEMrush. And we find that helps with like what keywords we should be trying to rank with, where's our gap in our strategy, backlinks we need to work on. So yeah, definitely we're going to work a lot more on SEO, especially after like the new ISO 14 updates. So we're going to be working on that. We also have the Recharge app, and we just tried a new one by eCommerce on Shopify, and it's called Free Gift. So you can actually offer a free gift in the checkout cart to increase the average order value. So, for example, if they have any item to their cart, they'll say, spend so much more and you can get a free bath bomb if you spend £30. And we have seen a great spike in people hitting the £30 market to get the free bath bomb. We've definitely seen great returns on that already.
It's very interesting. I need to talk to you a bit more about that actually after this.
Yeah, sure.
I'd love to find a bit more about that. Yeah. That's interesting that you talk about SEO though, because I feel as though in e-commerce there's been so much focus on that heavy acquisition strategy to grow, and people have almost neglected SEO, haven't they? Because it's a long-term play and it takes time. But I mean, that's, as you said, with the changes happening to ads at the moment, it's definitely a great area to invest in.
Yeah, I definitely agree. We want to be, so if someone types in wax melts, we want to pop up on my goal is to be on, hopefully, the first page of Google for wax melts, but we've got a lot of work to do. It's
Have you seen any return in terms of traffic coming through at the moment from what you've done so far? Yeah,
we have. We keep increasing each month.
That's amazing.
Which helps. It's definitely due to our SEO efforts on the organic traffic.
And what type of techniques have you been using for that? Just basic, like making sure meta description and product descriptions fleshed out? Is there any like pillar content included in that?
Yeah, so we've done a lot more content heavy blog posts on how to use wax melts, how to change your burner, what are wax melts and things like that. And that definitely helps. That brings in a lot of site traffic. Also ranking for key products such as our Porn Star Martini candle and for keywords as well, making sure that we're trying to be efficient and rank for certain keywords that we can.
Interesting. That's really good to hear, because we've just switched on our new site as well, and I was considering the same thing myself. How can we bring in more organic traffic? So starting to do more pillar content, like 2,000+ word blog posts, and hopefully see some return on that. So
yeah, definitely. I was looking at one of our competitors, and they only did 2 blog posts. That's all they wrote, and one brings in 70% of their site traffic.
That's the interesting thing, and I've spoken to a few people about this. You usually find it's 1 or 2 pieces of content that bring in the majority of the traffic. So it makes sense.
Maybe you only have to write 3 blog posts. Who knows? But
that's very interesting actually, because it shows that maybe it's not a case of frequency; it's about quality content.
Definitely, I think they definitely reward quality content.
Interesting. So what are the biggest challenges that you face growing the company? It sounds like it's been pretty plain sailing so far. You went from the kitchen to a new facility I've seen. Like, how's that transition been?
It's actually been a bit weird because I'm not used to managing staff. I mean, when I worked at where I worked at before, I always just self-managed. And now we've got about 4 members of staff. And I'm just a bit like, okay, how do I track what everyone's doing? I'm a bit like a hover parent. I'm just constantly like, is everyone okay? What's going on? Do you need any help?
Yeah, I know that feels.
So just learning like leadership and management has definitely been a challenge, because I wasn't really expecting to do that, really.
Yeah, that's very interesting. And I feel as though I resonate with that. We're probably like two years on the same path, and obviously before I'd never managed staff and find out how to do it. I just try and be friends with them. I don't know if that's the best route, but it's just try and be mates.
That is definitely, Oh, and another challenge we had is, so obviously we moved into our new warehouse about 2 months ago, and a key member of our staff who had been with us the whole time, our marketing manager actually, quit because of the commute. So it was almost overnight. So it was just me in the office, and that was quite stressful. So
no, it definitely is, especially like you said, when there's a small team and you have that dependency on people for certain things. When they do drop out for whatever reason, you miss them a lot.
Yes, definitely. It was like grieving a loss. It was really bizarre.
I know exactly what you mean. My project manager is off today and on Monday for a birthday, so I've had to jump in on the deliverables this morning, and I'm so stressed already, and it's only 11.
But it's Friday, it's nearly the weekend.
I know. Well, I'll be working through it, so no difference. Actually, no, we're out
Oh,
of lockdown, aren't we? So we need to go out.
yeah. So now you can go out if you want.
Yeah. So, okay. So, what would you to finish off? What would your advice be to other people starting out in this space?
Definitely build a connection with your customers. Listen to what they want. What do they want to see product wise and in the market? Yeah, it just really helps you with new product ideas, well, for us, new scents, what they want to see. And I find if you listen to them, then you'll be rewarded with loyalty.
Mm-hmm. Yep, super basic, straightforward advice. I agree with you. Just listen to the customer, and ultimately, yeah. There we go. Great interview. We need to go. Thanks, Charlotte. Yeah, definitely listen to the customers all the time. That sounds like you've released a lot of new products as well since you've started out.
I'm releasing releasing some more stuff as well in like a week or so. Yeah. So we've signed with a UK distributor, and our wax melts, because they're £3, they're quite a cheap price point. So they want something around £5 mark. So we've produced products especially for retailers, which should launch. We're also doing it on our website, but it should launch in about a week or so.
That's great to hear. I'm looking forward to hearing how you find the retail sides out as well.
Yeah, I think they'll be quite interesting.
Definitely.
What would your advice be then for
in regards to for e-commerce entrepreneurs?
For e-com, yeah.
Make sure you've
got. Put you on the spot. It's hard.
Make sure you've got a good profit margin, because
yes, definitely.
It's super challenging now to penetrate the markets and also retain people as well, because there's so much option. And the people we work with, who I see doing a great job, are actually very similar to yourself. They've got a very strong community. So it's almost, of course, it's about the product. You can't get away from the fact that you need a great product, but the people are a very engaged community, because every time you have very commoditized brands, and it's very easy for people to rip off products, but you can't really replicate a community overnight.
And it's so important because people buy from people, not from like a robot corporation. So it's so important to show, there's someone here that's seeing your messages and acting on those. Yeah,
the customer support's very, very important service. So yeah, I would say invest in community, build that up, and then never forget what built the brands in the first place, because
definitely
it's very easy for people to commoditize goods now and try and enter your space, but they can't take over that community you've built up.
Yeah, I do think this is going to happen actually as people become more aware of this emerging market. I think we will see. It's already become super saturated because of lockdown. Yeah, people at home learning candle making and wax making, but I think retailers will soon start seeing it as a trend and start maybe their own brands. So I'm trying to get in there early.
Yeah, well, it sounds like you've got 1 foot ahead of the competition, so you're in a good place. Cool.
Hopefully.
Christie, how can people contact you to find out more? I assume LinkedIn, which I'm going to tag you on now.
Yes, so I'm Christie Stapleton on LinkedIn, or you can just message me on Glam Wax UK on Instagram, because I do our social media as well.
Amazing. Well, thank you very much for your time. I'm going to tag you in this post, and if anyone else has any questions, feel free to comment, and I'm sure Christie will get back to you.
Yeah, of course I will. Take care. Bye.
Cheers.